Guys, what's up? Welcome back to our Mustang. In today's video we are going to be installing some Hedman headers on our 351 408 stroker, and I'm going to kind of show you guys some of the little things I had to work out to get these to fit. So to help me with this installation today, I'm going to be using some Mr. gasket screws that I got. I'll try to put the part number down in the description. They make these corners a little easier. These aren't the worst headers that I've ever seen in terms of being able to get the bolts in them, but sometimes with the longer bolts you can't get them around that corner. You gotta like bang them with a hammer. I haven't had any issues getting any of these into place. One thing I will show you on this one, I did have to, well, I painted it with some VHT paint. I had to kind of bang right here, kind of flatten it out to get it not to rub right on the very corner of the shock tower. But other than that, I'll show you a few other modifications I made. I didn't have to do any more banging on these things to get them into place. So let's go over the car. So I don't know how much room here I have to give you guys a good view. If your AC stuff, your hoses aren't installed yet, as long as you have the car jacked up, these drop straight in. However, the other night I installed my AC hoses, so that ain't gonna work now. I'm gonna go ahead and just put a couple bolts in real quick just to kind of get into place. So for header gaskets, I'm gonna be using the Felpro 1487s. They're the ones that AFR recommends you use on the Renegade 195 heads. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull those bolts out, slide this into place. This flat, shinier part, according to their website, is supposed to match up to the header side. I know I had that on a time lapse, but I did that in real time. This header and bolt combination is pretty nice actually. So kudos to Hedman for making a nice header, and I think these bolts, although I could have sure done it with the other bolts no problem, these bolts did make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to bang in right here a little bit to give myself some clearance. I'm just going to take some of this VHT, and local stores usually have it, just kind of use that to tap right there. This stuff dries super quick, especially out here in the sun, and seems to be about the right color. So again, it's just touch-ups. This stuff's pretty durable, but you hit it on something, it does scratch, so be careful when you're doing these. Alright, so I ended up taking them in and out about 10 times to get that gap right, but I got a little space in there. I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch if I'm lucky. Hard to get a good zoom on it, but now we should be okay. I went ahead and got all those bolts torqued down. I'm gonna tell you, I really like these headers. I can get the bolt inside the round part of my wrench on almost every single one of them to tighten them down. The last two I did have to use the Allen on, but not a big deal. It was more or less pleasant, aside from having to take it out about 10 times to get that gap right. Let me show you what I did over here. Now, I'm pretty sure if I could have jacked the car up really high, putting this from the bottom would have been a lot easier. I was able to go from the top, but let me show you what I had to do. I had to take out my steering shaft, and right here the proportioning valve, I had to get a brass fitting right there to put there. Let's see if I can get a better view of it, to angle the sensor. There we go. The angle of the sensor to the side, because you can see where I scratched the crap out of my header trying to get it to squeeze in, until I figured out that it was catching on those little electric connections. So I did have to do that modification, but luckily I got about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch to spare there. And all right, so the third to last bolt on the driver's side is a little tricky. So this little setup gets you about 1/8 of a turn a minute, so have fun. But the rest of this was pretty easy, so I'll suck it up. Bring you guys in for a close-up. basically this is what I got going on right here. Now I'm gonna sit this down and continue. And yeah, this one I need to tighten it down, but it went in pretty smooth. So I'm pretty big fan of these Hedman headers, at least prior to starting them up, and I really like those Mr. Gasket screws I used. So hopefully this helps someone out. Oh, and also, just for sake of showing y'all, so anyone who's wondering about ground clearance, these stick out about 2 inches down from right here. So is what it is. We'll see how they do when I start driving it. Would have liked them to be up a little higher, but I definitely think it could have been worse.